Alright, I'm going to walk through some charts here, see how quick we can make it. Going to do my general walkthrough. We're going to go futures, then sectors, then stocks. So anyway, start off on the 500s here. Got a retracement from the 3-year into the all-time high, then a retracement from the all-time high down here into this low. To go into a shorter term time frame, we can see on that push lower, volume was very thin up here. This climb that we made all the way up built no structure, so we fall completely through it. Actually fall all the way down here into the 6-month point of control. Also the 161.8 of that move from the 2017 close up into the all-time highs, 2537.50. Price pushes down through there, down through this volume. Volume's responsive and buys, pushes price back up. Was looking for a retest of the 61.8 here on the secondary, or at least the back test of that breakdown. We can see that here. We see price pushes down through the 61.8, but this is really the level that allows the big push down and through. So kind of wanted to see this 33 to 45 area retested, almost get there today, fail a little bit, and so far price has pushed off that failure. Down here in the overnight session, sitting down at about 2662 or so. Looks like we were down here in the what's this high 47 or so. So certainly a nice push off that price point. Volume thin through this range. Watching to see if we do lose this 38.2 at 62.5. Do we get that full roll back down here to test the primary 23.6? We can also put a fib here if this is the low to hold. Certainly other price points to watch as well. The more ups and downs we do, the tighter these ranges will get. So anyway, looks like 50 was supportive there at the tertiary 38.2. And then again, this roll down from 50 down here into 27 would be the next large move if we do move lower. To the upside, again, we need to break back through this 50 that we failed today, and then the volume resumes up here at the 61.8 at 27.45. Just given the action that we saw today, my general idea would probably be that we move lower through this previous range that we built up. How far, do not know. Would definitely like to see this 2600, 2611 area tested in regular trading hours. Just to see how RTH responds to this volume down here, if this is a buy. We'll be able to tell a lot from that. If we see buying through this area, would think we push higher through this, back to test the 61.8 if we don't, and possibly even higher than that. If price does fail through volume, then you're looking to move down here all the way into the 24.67 area. A lot of time between here and there, just kind of taking this level by level. Through here, can play it as tight or as loose as you wish. We can check the NQ real quick, see that price did pretty much the same thing through that drop. The only difference here on the NQ is a lot of volume supportive here between the 50 and the 38.2. On the chart, we did test down into that volume and bounce back outside of it. Right now, price rejecting, I believe we get a full back test on this one. On the secondary, the price doesn't, again, like the NQ or the ES, it doesn't test all the way up in the 61.8. Test that level of the breakdown, though, pretty well. Then we get that failure from there. Price down, pushing through, testing into the secondary 30 or the primary 38.2 at 64.80 or so on that drop. Pretty responsive bounce all the way up into 65.60 or so. We'll need to see if that 38.2 again turns into resistance and pushes price lower, or if we do see that bounce up. So how are we going to do that? Well, we start individually through the sectors. I look at the top 6 weighted, the XLE, XLF, XLI, XLK, XLV, XLY. Kind of just chart them out, see what I'm thinking. So XLE on the 3-year weekly. We can see since price has failed there at the double top at 78.60 or so, it has pushed back down here into this large area of consolidation and volume. Can't really short the XLE through this. I wouldn't think. We see plenty of demand down here in range at the 38.2 and 61.8 respectively. Think right now what I would want to see out of the XLE support here, and then a push back up and over this primary 38.2 at 70.14. So really not trying to play it short, not really trying to play it long as well. Could get trapped here within volume 68 to 70. I think that 70 breaks probably the best way to play it. Going to the XLF here, we see that 20 year it's charted. Price pushed almost into the all-time high here in the XLF, set all the way back here in 07. Didn't quite make it before we started to drop. Go into a shorter term time frame. We see the fib applied to the 3 year here in the blue as well, and then we have that from the all-time high down here into that low. We see price got pretty close to the 23.6 here on that drop at 26.91. A big recovery from there. XLF bounce, when it did bounce, it bounced back up and over this volume, much like the ES did. ES was located a little bit lower. XLF here kind of in the middle of this bouncing range. Don't think I would want to try to short the XLF through this. It is the 6 month POC. Not a lot of volume, but it is still volume. So I think if I'm trying to get the XLF short, I've got to play it off the breakdown here of this general range. I think the XLF is more of a building of a long position while it does hold above this 27.90 or so level. And also above this 23.6, obviously at 26.91. Would look at some of the holdings, and we'll do that here pretty quickly, but we do see just that build out here. So certainly not trying to look for the XLF as a short. Obviously XLE again wasn't a short as well. So that's 2 of the top 6 already that I would rather either stay away from or just maybe prepare swing longs in. Next big one here is the XLI. We can see XLI just on this massive run. Industrials, you know, your Boeings and your MMM, things like that contribute to this sector. Anyway, put it on a 3 year, that fib on the 3 year from the low to the high. We see again that when we do get that big drop in the market, it tests the 23.6 of that longer term fib here at 72.9. Nice responsive bounce up. Go into a shorter term here. We see price on this bounce. No real volume on the XLI here to hold it. The volume is more located down here at the 72 area, just before or just after where we set that low. So certainly this will be something to watch to see if this smaller volume can hold price. Again, kind of hard to get too short these defensive names. So we'll look individually at each stock and see what we think about that. But for now, so long as it's holding this 38.2, not trying to get short the XLI either. Obviously, would be more of an opportunity to get swing long up here at 77, 76, or down here at the 23.6 at 72.9. If we do see the XLE double test those lows and double bottom, would be a very interesting place, I think, for the XLI and XLI stocks, 72 to 73 area to get long. And then we can go down into the XLK. XLK largely represents what the NQ is looking like, short a few stocks here. Also looks a lot like Apple. But anyway, so we have these retracements drawn on the XLI, or the XLK. The one thing I like to note about the XLK is that this high that we set back here in 2000 that we breached, we've now fallen back under on the monthly. Obviously, a lot of time left in the month, but it will be interesting to see how we close that out up here, 65.43. We also see the longer term, or the shorter term fib here, drawn from the 15 low up here into the all-time highs. Didn't even come close to touching that 23.6 there, as well as this uptrend that was established back in 2016 that's still holding. So long as XLK remains above volume or within volume, again, another one just to get hard to get short through this. A lot of time and a lot of value built in this area. So you might notice a commonality that a lot of these sectors are sitting at or close to support. I'm going to take something I think a lot larger, maybe a news-driven event to really push through and flush all of these out to create another larger leg lower. XLV comes down. It tests this volume between the primary 23.6 and 38.2. Nice buy responsive right back outside of it. Going to a 6 month here, and we see again the same thing. Price test down into volume and pushes right back up. Still giving still sitting pretty close to that volume. Will be more of a confirmation once it breaks up and outside of this previous spike high. You know that the XLV might be a decent long play here. If you wanted shorter term time frames, obviously you could go in and put one here like this, and then we see that that failure up here at the 38.2. So again, though, the XLV is sitting here in volume. It's going to have to work its way down and through volume to really get any other large breakdowns. Flip side on the XLV, you get a break up and over this level here, then you're probably thinking about catching, building some swing longs out to test back up here into this range, up here into the 87, 89 area, and then possibly retest here into the highs. Very thin, drawn out profile here through all of 2018. Wouldn't take much, I think, to see price push back up and through that. The XLY. XLY is really the only sector I think that looks like it could have a little bit more harm done to it. We see the fib drawn here on the 1 year from the base of this breakout previously up here into the all-time high, and then one more drawn here from the all-time high down into that low. And then shorter term, we see price pushes down through the 38.2. Nice responsive bounce. Fails the 61.8 today of the secondary up here at 105.67. Also note the lack of volume through this range. I think that if the XLY can break down under this 23.6, we could see a pretty good size drop here down through maybe into the 101, test this 101 area. Or we could do something like this. Okay, yeah, so pretty close. Just thinking again, this maybe in the 102 area. So 101, 102, be interested to see how it tests through there. A little bit of build out here as well. But I think the common theme here is that a lot of these sectors are sitting well at or within an area where volume is present and supportive. Again, if the XLF loses that 28 level, it's subject to a possible turn down into 27. The XLE sitting well within a very large pocket of volume that exists all the way out into the weekly chart. The XLI, again, thin volume through this range, rejecting the 50. Wouldn't be shocked to see this come down and to test maybe into the 73, well below the 61.8 and the 50 here. Not a lot of volume built out through this range. Would like to see the 72 to 73 area tested one more time as a buying opportunity. XLK, again, a large swatch of volume here on the 6 month. Wouldn't be shocked to see maybe price test lower and it gets stuck in this range for a little bit. Does have that uptrend that is present from the 2016 low all the way up here into current price. The XLV one more time. Large area of volume here from the 38.2 up into the 23.6. A lot of congestion here, just below 83.5. Take it down into a shorter term time frame, and you see it a little bit better here. Think that so long as XLV remains above 83.5, it's probably viable for a push higher to test through again this thin volume that was established on the way up and then back on the way down. And then one more time, the XLY. Again, I think that this is probably where there's the most weakness. I'm going to watch this 104.27 area to create a short back down through that area. Let's go through charts real quick. XLE, individual stocks by holding. ZOM here, 3-year, one of the more bearish looking charts. No bounce here after this huge drop from 88.7. Also dropping outside of this pocket of volume. A lot of demand though here. Anytime it drops below this price, don't think I'd really want to be trying to short it through 73, but think that there's a possible short here through there, down into 73. CVX second holding. CVX, different story here than XOM. We see price fell down into the 61.8. Very supportive there at 110. A lot of volume down here at the 110 area on CVX. Think that if price retests down into here, it's probably a buy against the 61.8 for another leg higher. Kind of looks like a big old cup right here. Be interesting to see it attach a handle here and retest up here in this 135. I still wouldn't be shocked to see CVX push up and through here a multi-year run, so long as the pricing of everything stays current or trending. But obviously, long way out. Thing to notice right here is this is probably a buying opportunity on CVX down here in the 110 area. And then the third holding of the XLE Slumber. Not much to say about this stock. Contained well within volume. Going to be hard to short through it. Probably see a lot of congestion in this area, as we probably will in the XLE. Over into the XLF, top holding JPM. Just a stellar run here. We have it on the 20-year. We can see the 161.8 projected up here at 99.44. The price hasn't even back tested on the monthly, so super strong off that break. Going to a shorter term time frame. We put another fib here from the low at 530.17 up here into the high. Notice the price test into the 38.2 on that drop, and just a huge wick off that low. A lot of buying opportunity there, and people certainly took advantage of it. Also, the 6-month, much like the ES, 6-month POC down here as well, towards the lows of this candle. So, again, think that the XLF was a great buying opportunity down here. Already recovered the 61.8 of that drop at 112.24. So long as it holds price here, certainly think it's probably a long to retest up and into the highs. If we do lose the 61.8, would use these fibs on the way down as supports. A lot of volume down here again from the 38.2 into the 23.6 short term, 107 to 109. Probably not a bad area to establish a long position so long as this area holds. BRKB second holding. A lot of these banks you'll notice still doing really well. BRKB above the 23.6 at 195 as well. And then the drop trying to recover the 38.2 of that. Volume down here as well. We'll be interested to see if the volume is responsive here. This is kind of the first bank that's back testing this volume off of a breakout. So as BRKB does, we'll probably see the rest of the banks do. So certainly if you're a bull, you want to see this bounce up and outside of this volume. I'll just do one more. Back again, just a huge strength candle here off that low. We redraw this and we see again today, that's where back retests, is that 61.8. And fails, so we'll be interested to see again if it can climb up and over. Probably risk off to the long side if we do see that push down lower, down into this 30 area where volume exists. Probably a good buying opportunity, just like the XLF. XLI, Boeing, first one. Obviously just a stellar stock, defense spending, blah, 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 blah. Holding test down into the 38.2 on that drop, down all the way into 320, and already recovered all the way up here into the 348 level. Just an amazing bounce. Up and out. Now we see that the secondary 61.8 here at 644.62 is holding. Also have this nice bucket of volume that established here on the daily chart while it congested in range, now supportive as well. If Boeing gives the option at this 345 level, probably not a bad long to enter. Could probably even take it down into a 20-day and see all this volume down here. Probably just a nice buy in this range, although if you're a bull, you're wanting to see the 61.8 hold at the 345 test. Go down into MMM, second largest holding in the XLI. Into the 3-year, we see the fib drawn, bounce the 23.6 here, the primary at 230 and holds. Not nearly as big of a bounce here on the triple M's as on Boeing. Actually, where we saw Boeing's volume accept higher, we're seeing rejection into this volume right now. So probably assuming chop here through this range for a while, so long as the market does what it's been doing. If we do lose that low at 230, probably playing to the gap fill here at 222. Honeywell International, a lot looks again like the MMM here volume wise, pushes down, does recover the primary 23.6, but failing at the 38.2 in this large stretch of volume. Really stretched out here on Honeywell all the way down into that previous low at 146. If we lose that 151 area, might be a really nice short back down into this range in irregular trading hours. We'll skip UNP. We'll check out Apple, top holding of the XLK. Not really much to say about Apple here, holding the 23.6. Lost that and recovered it quickly. But still printing underneath the 61.8 of the shorter term. I would really like to see price up and over this 161 if I wanted to get aggressive with Apple. Would play these shorter terms to the upside. We see once the volume or that range is established, Apple pushes another 38.2 and fails, also failing that secondary 61.8 here, but still a lot of volume in this range. So does it hold 158? We could do shortest term 61.8 at 157.7. So does it hold this range where volume exists from 157.7 up, or do we see failure down to retest this low and possibly even the low down here at 149 level as well? Second holding is Softy. Interesting thing about Softy here is that on the 20-year, it's holding this 161.8 really well up here at 87.84. 261.8 not even up here until the 133 area. So certainly an interesting one to watch. Obviously projects it not up there until the 2020, but certainly something interesting to watch. See if we get that play off that 161.8. Anyway, back down here into a shorter term time frame. We have this fib drawn, price comes down into the 61.8 and volume down here on Softy. Nice responsive bounce. Tests the secondary 61.8 today and fails up there at 92. Not really sure this is a stock that I want to short. I still like the chart itself, pretty responsive. Another one though that I wouldn't mind seeing test down here into the 87 level during regular trading hours. Maybe see price stay there a little bit and then move higher. But again, not a stock that I'm really looking adamant about shorting. Third holding being FB, Facebook. You see this fib drawn, a couple pockets of null, but for the most part, Facebook is built out really well up here in this range, holding above the 23.6 even on that drop and this uptrend. So certainly something I'm not really trying to short here on Facebook. A lot of volume here in range, certainly something to watch. Probably good buying opportunity if you like the name here, so long as the NQ can continue to hold, and we don't see any more big washouts. Nice, decent value, I think, here from 176 up here into 179 for a Facebook buy. And then into the fourth term holding Google. Not a lot of decent structure here on Google. Price, just continued higher and higher, pushed up and through. We run this fib. Price didn't push all the way down here into the 38.2, but it did push below that 23.6 and fail. And if we wanted to draw this shorter term fib here, we see that out of this base, price pushes up, and it's the 61.8 that holds down here at 10.23. Not really too excited about the Google chart. A lot of volume down here. I think for me to want to get more swing long Google, I'd want to see this 38.2 cross up here at the 10.94. I realize that's 40 points of range, but things stand out a lot above here. Probably test, the 14, the 33, and then even this gap fill from 33 up into 58. On to the XLV, the J&J. Again, another stock that is holding the weekly or longer term 160.18 down here at 126. Probably good swing long type buy down here at 122 to 126 area if it held. On a shorter term time frame, we see price down into 38.2, and again the bounce. Decent volume spread out here on J&J. There are nulls here and nodes, but for the most part, there's still a lot of volume. There's a lot of down, up, and back testing of areas. And right now, obviously, volume stuck here in this node. But I don't think, again, it's a name to short. I think that if we see price regain this 133, it's another one of those where you can consider to put it in a longer-term portfolio, possibly even for a test up here into this 165 area eventually. Just a strong household name. I don't see any sort of large fallout here. UNH. What to say about UNH? Falls into volume again, and catches itself. Rejects the 50 here at 230, pushing down a little bit lower today into the 226 where this volume exists. I think the only way you play UNH short is the 218 break into 210. I think really what you look for is support at 226 to push up and retest this 235 area. Volume thin above price, so long as this 226 area can hold. That's, I think, a great risk reward for upside move here in UNH. PFE, a little bit different look here on PFE. Doesn't move at all. On a longer term time frame, trying to hold the 61.8 here at 35.36. A lot of volume established below this price. I think this is kind of another one of those buy and hold type stocks, for years and years and years. Wouldn't be shocked, so long as this 35.36 holds, eventually to see PFE up here into the 50s. But again, need to see that 35.36 hold first. Into the last section, XLY, Amazon, large holding of the XLY. Another stock where volume is just very meandery, not a lot of anything up here. 6-month POC all the way down here at 1148, actually down here at 977, before that here at 1150 to 1180. I was kind of excited to see this stock bounce today. I was kind of hoping that we would see the 61.8 hold for a decent upside play, but we don't. We end up seeing price test several times, but ultimately fails through that level. This is probably one that I'm going to avoid, but gun to my head, I would say probably wouldn't mind seeing a short down here back to retest, this 1360 level. So not a lot of volume on the way up, like I said, so I just would expect maybe another test lower. Or, if we do see price established over that 61.8 at 1430, nice quick trip back up here into the all-time highs. Really just playing the 61.8 as a pivot. You can see it here even on the 20 day 1 hour. Hard rejection here at that 61.8. We could go ahead and put these levels on as well for downside price points. But again, volume does thin on its way down, all the way down here into the 1300 range. HD. Nice bucket of volume on an HD there. Short term, let's see what it is long term. Long term rejecting the 23.6 up here, that primary 23.6 on longer term at 120 or 192.65. Also pushed back below the 50 here at 191.57. I think well below 191.57. Would look for this to leg down into 187.81, and then this large spike out of volume at 183. CMCSA, last one I will do. strength here in CMCSCA, holding above the 261.8 up here at 40.23, or at least contesting it. Also supported by the 61.8 up here at 38.8. We see that here on the shorter term time frame. Nice bounce there at volume and that 61.8. Another one of those stocks where it doesn't move quickly, but probably a better long-term IRA or 401k position for up and out on CMCSA as well. And I lied, Disney's the last one. We'll just take it into a 20-year. Just this huge flag on Disney. Be interesting to see which way this breaks. If it does break up and out, I'm looking at the 140 area for Disney. Would need it to break below 95 probably to play it short down here into the 80s. So, I mean, what did we see through all of that? Well, we didn't see a lot of stocks that looked like they were getting ready to balls to the wall, drop out of orbit. What we saw was stocks that got some pretty large bounces off some key levels, and those areas may or may not warrant a retest for support. I think that what we're seeing is a nice area for us to start to consider building out longer term swing positions. But I think largely this drop we've seen is a possible low, and if this isn't the low, I think we see it, from 24.67 up here into 25.30. I don't foresee some huge detrimental drop where we're retesting down here in the 2200s. The market is still in economic cycle number 2. Probably be that way for another couple of years. I don't think that this is the type of market where we should get too worried. I think this is more of a market where we're looking to build swing positions long, for anywhere from the next 6 months to the next couple of years, depending on the chart. Looking for stocks that are coming into volume supports, looking for stocks that are falling into longer term key retracement levels like 61.8s. Looking for stocks that are backtesting previous breakouts, things like that, stocks that you'd want to position swing long in. So that's kind of my outlook here. I think the ES, again, as well as a lot of the holdings of ES, have a possible move down here lower to test the 2603, 2627 area. And again, want to see how market responds to this level with volume and those fibs. But I don't think that we're going to get another one of these huge washout candles or a pairing of these washout candles at any point soon. Maybe a little bit tighter range trading here in this area and get stock specific for a while. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. I've taken 33 minutes. Pretty impressed if you guys make it through this. But just giving you my thoughts.